In this continuation of the Pac-Man tutorial, we're going to finish off the rest of the graphics that we'll need to do our animation. So what we're going to start with is to work with the ghosts that we've got created here. And then we're going to make graphics for them looking up and down depending on their direction. So what we'll do is we'll start with the red ghost. So what you're going to do is you're going to need to duplicate the red ghost, and we'll give it the name red up. Click on OK. And then you can edit this. All we need to do, and I'm going to zoom in using the magnifying tool, is we need to select everything on the eyes layer. So the easiest way to do that is click on the eyes layer itself. It'll select everything. We want to move these to the upper portion of the ghost head. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to move the pupils. So I'm going to get those into place. And then we need to fill this gap left by the eyes. So you're going to use the paint bucket, go to properties, pick a white fill, and then you can fill in that space. So go back to scene 1. Now we're going to do the down frame for this. So right click, duplicate, and then we want to do red down. Fairly straightforward. Now for red down, all you need to do is double click. I'll zoom in. We're going to select everything on the eyes layer, go to modify, transform, flip vertical so that they're looking down, and then we want to move the eyes fairly far down, about into the middle of the ghost head there, so that we get the ghost looking down. Now for this, you're going to do the same thing to the other colored ghosts that you've got in your project. The easiest way to do that is if you go to the up graphic, we're going to click on the eyes layer to select everything. Go to edit, copy, Command C, and then you can go to the other ghosts. So we'll duplicate the cyan ghost, and we will make cyan up, just like that. Go inside the animation. You can delete what's on the eyes layer, and then we want to paste in place the eyes from the other ghost graphic. So what you should do is continue through all 4 ghosts so that you have up and down frames for their animations using this copy-paste method. Okay, now that you should have down and up frames for all of the ghosts, we can do a few other pieces of animation that we need to create yet. One is going to be the blue color that they change when Pac-Man eats a power pellet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the red by duplicating it. And this one will be called scared. So the ghosts are afraid. That's what we'll call it. We'll click on OK. And then we'll fix that one up. So go inside the scared graphic. And for the eyes, I'm going to delete what's on that layer, and you're going to replace it with face, because this is the graphic that actually has the zigzaggy mouth on it. So on the ghost layer, what we're going to do is you're going to use the paint bucket, and you'll pick a fill color of a sort of a dark blue. It'll fill that frame. We'll go to the second one, make sure that it's also filled with the dark blue. And then on face, what you're going to do here is you're going to draw a face on the ghost. So for part of this, I'm going to use the pen tool, and then I'll pick a stroke color of white. I'll also change the stroke size to 4. That should be adequate. And then I'm going to draw this. Make sure you're on the face layer. There we go. And then for eyes, I'm going to use the oval tool. Make sure that the fill color is white and there is no stroke. You can just create one. They're fairly small in this instance, so I'll just copy and paste and then line another one up here. So that will be our 2-frame scared ghost animation. So we'll go back and go into your library. Now we need to create the frame where the ghost reverts back to its state, sort of flashes blue and white for a couple seconds. So we're going to need to duplicate that. And you can call this one revert. Go inside. And what we're going to do here is we're going to copy these clips over because we're going to make a 4-frame animation of this. So select everything, hold Option on the keyboard, and then you can move this stuff over. And then I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on here. For the ghost layer on frames 3 and 4, what we want to do is we want to make the ghost white. So I'm going to use the paint bucket, fill that white, and on frame 4, fill that white as well. Now on the face layer, what you can do is I'm going to pick the same dark blue. You'll notice that it'll only work on the eyes, and that is because the mouth isn't a fill, it's a stroke. So we can fix that by selecting the mouth, you can double click, and then changing the stroke color to blue. So we get a 4-frame animation that will have the ghost still moving, but it'll be flashing white and blue. So that's that. What we're going to do is we're also going to make some cherries. So for that, we're going to need an insert new symbol. We're going to call it cherries. And this is one of the bonus point items that appears in the game. So I'll use the oval tool, give it red fill, a black outline, and I want this to still fit in the same 4 square area. So I'll just zoom in so I can see this a little bit better. Okay, and then before we draw this, we should reduce the stroke size to 1. Just to keep that manageable. So what you can do is in the lower left area, you can draw a circle for one of the cherries. Then you can draw another slightly larger one because it shows up in front. What we're going to do is use the brush tool, and then you can give it kind of one of the darker brown colors. But we still want it to show up on a black background, so you have to be a little bit more careful with that, and then you can pick maybe a larger brush size. Remember in Flash that the brush size changes sort of dependent on how zoomed in you are. So I'm going to leave it with this one and just do a couple quick stems here. Kind of match that up. Do a little touch-ups here. And then the last thing that you should do is pick white, and then we'll put a little sheen on here, not like a Charlie Sheen, but to show that the cherries are in fact shiny. So then we can go back to scene 1, and we've got the cherries graphic finished. Now the other thing that we need is after Pac-Man eats the ghosts, they return to the ghost home, I suppose it would be called, as a pair of eyes. So what you'll need to do is we'll use our red ghost to do this. We're going to duplicate red, and we're going to call this one eyes. Click on OK. And then in eyes, if you double click, all we need to do is delete the ghost layer. So we can leave the eyes like that. Go back to scene 1 and duplicate red down. Name it eyes down, and then in red you can duplicate the red up and name it eyes up, And then for down, just the same way, delete the ghost, eyes up, delete the ghost, and then we have the 3 eye animations that we need. We could have just had one eyes up and then flip them around, but this will make it a little bit easier. The last thing that we need is going to be the flashing animation of a power pellet. So we're going to do that by making a new symbol, insert new symbol, call it pellet, click on OK. And then for this, you just use the ellipse tool, remove the stroke, and then we're going to make a circle right underneath the center. And then what we're going to do is we're going to 2 frames later make a blank, and then we want that to hold for an extra frame. So we'll have a repeating animation where it's there for 2 frames and then it will disappear for 2 frames. So you can save this now that you've got all this work done, and we'll go on to the next tutorial in which you'll be creating the level and starting the animation.